professionally. Then you grow up and you just put those dreams away.
Did my dad like baseball?
He loved it. Grandpa used to take your dad and me and Aunt Wilma to Dodger Stadium in Chavez Ravine, just like his dad took him. Of course, back then there was no stadium, it was just a ravine.
Yeah, Wilma likes baseball too?
She's crazy about it. As a kid, she used to always dress as Tommy Lasorda for Halloween. And then in high school, she was Tommy Lasorda with fishnets.
Man, I would have loved to see that.
No, you would not. No.
Hello everybody, what's up? It's me, your boy 8-Bit Joseph, and today in a little bit of a different video with the echo going wild because I'm at work and I've got nothing better to do. We're just going to be talking about something that, I wanted to talk about. I thought whenever I would get done watching a show, I would talk about it, because there's so many bad shows right now like Velma and Velma. And that one over there called Velma as well. But, so I took a look on a show that I remember coming out whenever I was younger. I remember it being pitched in 2012. I was 12 years old. And I remember the show coming out in early 2013. So the show only had 2 seasons, and it was a Nickelodeon thing. Now, the reason I'm bringing all this up and all that is because, there's just going to be a little bit of a backstory. Of course, I'm going to throw images in here to show what I'm talking about. I would throw videos, but unfortunately, guys, this show, there's not really a lot of clips on YouTube because, like I said, it only had 2 seasons and it was back in 2013. And I don't really want to get copyright striked by Nickelodeon or whoever it is that they do their stuff with. I know like Paramount is a lot like other guys that they have partnerships with. So I'm not going to try to record anything and show, I might throw up a video that like I shot the other day and put it up on the screen just for like, as an example of, a little bit of like adult humor. So I'm probably going to throw that in here. It'll be at the beginning of the video so you guys have already seen it. So the show is Wendell and Vinnie. Now, Wendell and Vinnie, if you guys don't know, was about a 32-year-old man living with his 12-year-old cousin. Now, Wendell, Wendell is the 12-year-old. He's smart and everything. He's just like that type of kid. He's into like weird things. He's not the average 12-year-old making bad decisions and things, You guys know what I'm talking about. We've all been there. We've all been 12. We've all made bad decisions. And now Vinny, the 32-year-old, he's basically, an adult that's still living the 12-year-old teen life is basically what he's living. Like, he's into a whole bunch of, like, stuff from movies. He just collects stuff. And, that just is seen as, like, a childish thing, even though today I feel like it's a lot more, normalized for kids to collect. For adults to collect stuff, play video games, things like that. And in 2013... it was just a different time period, where, people were trying to move away from video games. It was like, oh, that's more of a kid thing. I need to be an adult now. So the show was ahead of its time in that regards. I'm not saying that everybody acts like that now that, everybody's playing video games, but a lot more people play video games than they did back in 2013. Especially adults. Myself being 22, I still play video games and stuff, whether it be PlayStation 2, 3, 4, the 5. So, Wendell and Vinnie, I watched the whole first season, and I'm going to watch the second season. I'll do a follow-up video on that. And one of those, like, I watched this, so you don't have to. And I'm just going to give my full, what I think about the show. Starting off on the first episode, okay, I don't remember, the name of it, We'll just call it the pilot, because that's what every, episode is called. Every start is called, even though this one is not called that, because, and you'll get why it's not called a pilot. A pilot is supposed to be an introduction, okay? Like, introducing you to who your main characters are, who your side characters are, if they're going to be, in the longevity of the episode. Wendell and Vinnie off the bat is a super fast-paced show on the first episode, and it's only like this for the first episode. Super fast-paced, and this is why. In the first episode, you're not even really introduced to Wendell and Vinnie. You're introduced to them in a way that you're already supposed to know them. It starts out as Wendell walking in and stuff. He's got a lightsaber from the Star Wars thing, and it's taken it as we're supposed to know who these people are already. Wendell and Vinnie. Now, the problem I have with this is we don't know who Wendell and Vinnie is. Jerry Trainer is Vinnie, and he is, from iCarly. Am I supposed to assume that he's going to be the same character as he is in iCarly, or Drake and Josh, those guys? And that's like a problem I have. If you don't really have like a strong introduction to your characters at first, that can be like a make or break for a show. I don't think it was, because it obviously got a second season, but for me it was an issue. Okay, I like to move fast paced and stuff too. Like, I'm not stuck on one thing forever. I like to move to the next. But in a show, you really can't do that. Without a proper introduction, you can like lose interest of people really quick. And that's, and that's not me saying the show's bad by any means. But when you're watching something and there's really no proper introduction, what is it that is going to hook you, Like, what is the story between these two? Now, maybe the advertising, the commercials, they thought they did a good job. Wendy...
Wendell's always been a little grown up for his age.
12-year-old boys don't get excited about underwear.
Underpants, yay!
Vinny's never really grown up.
Turn down your stupid video games. The neighbors have a petition.
You saw it?
I signed it.
But in a brand new series, Wendell's taking a chance.
I'm afraid I'm gonna die.
Vinny's taking responsibility.
I'm the guy who makes sure you're always safe.
I'm allergic to peanuts, remember?
And they're both taking care
Which one of you was playing with the super glue?
of each other.
I just wasn't paying attention.
Don't blame yourself.
Jerry Trainer stars in Wendell and Vinnie, a brand new series, coming in 2013.
Wendell is a little kid who's too old for his age, and Vinny never grew up, so I guess maybe that's what they were going for, that the advertisements would kind of carry the introduction for the show. But in my head, it's poor writing, honestly, more than anything. You gotta have a proper introduction. Nobody's gonna watch, Naruto if you're not introducing us to the type of person Naruto is, I'm gonna find Sasuke and bring him back. Finding Sasuke, first episode. Yeah, that's not gonna get you interested. Obviously, in the very first episode and everything of Naruto, you get an introduction for who Naruto is, that he's a goofball. You don't just throw us in the deep end with, Naruto's this kid, and we just already know about him. So, that's obviously an issue when you go into a show. You cannot sit there and just throw people in the deep end. You're going to lose interest. And that's just the way that is. Now, humor in the show is good. This is a show that I love the humor for. It's kind of like in that teenage adult range. Now, the show itself says that it's for 9+. I'll throw a screenshot up on the side of where it says that on Vudu. That should not, no, this show is not for 9+, okay? There's like mild cussing, adult humor in the show. Like, obviously, I can't like think of everything off the top of my head. I watched all 11 episodes in a span of like 3 days. Wasn't that hard to do. I could have easily watched it all in one sitting if I wanted to. I could have binged it, but I wanted to put little breaks in between. And when I say breaks in between, I didn't watch 3 back-to-back, 3 days back-to-back. I, of course, put like a day or two in between so I wouldn't run through it real quick. It was easy to get through it all in a week. Under a week. Man, I bought it on Friday and today is Monday. Okay, so no, I didn't put like a day or two in between. I literally just mowed through it in 3 days. Wow. That's crazy. I didn't think I ran through it that fast. But yeah, so that's like the bad thing. You get introduced to the neighbor and Wilma, which is Vinny's sister, Wendell's, and obviously she's like the more like grown-up adult, successful lawyer type thing. Wendell is obviously Wendell is obviously the kid, and Vinny is obviously the adult teen, basically living a teenage life is what they portray in the show. And then also, like I said, the neighbor, redhead country lady, you get introduced to her in the first episode, obviously because Vinny has like a crush on her, but obviously she's not the romantic interest if you really think about it. When Vinny has a crush on quite a few women in the first season or thinks that they're very attractive. So I'm kind of glad they didn't give him like the basic romantic interest. Now, obviously in season 2 that could change. He could go fully for her instead of just like, having like his little bitty like, ooh, this woman's kind of gorgeous thing going on. So, introduction. I believe the first episode is obviously, he's trying to impress Vinny is trying to impress the neighbor by showing he's like a good parental figure to Wendell, and he takes Wendell to the park to skate to try to pick up his neighbor's interest, right? Because obviously he thinks she's gorgeous, so he wants to get her attention. Only issue what that is whenever he goes and does that, obviously he like pushes him down. Wendell doesn't know how to skateboard, so he ends up literally like, breaking his arm, and social services come in and kind of get intertwined. The social service dude kind of doesn't see an issue with them until, Vinny had asked the neighbor girl to make food, and she made like tau pie chicken or something, and there's like peanut butter in it. And Wendell goes to take a bite, and he ends up in the hospital. So then the social service guy is like, oh, this is a big deal or whatever, trying to like get him rehomed or whatever. What ends up happening is literally like the social service guy sees the hospital report, and the saving grace is the fact that all of them are for Vinny, not Wendell. Sorry I'm getting their names mixed up, guys. It's like, it's just a weird thing. I don't really talk about TV shows much, so I don't really obviously. It's a good episode, but way too fast-paced. You try to do an introduction while also throwing in a little bit of story. It just doesn't work out well. The rest of the episodes, I do have to say, though, are really good. They slowed down a lot from what the first episode was. It's not trying to do a whole introduction anymore, so they're able to do these little side plot things in them. It's a really good watch. I definitely think you guys should watch it. Like, obviously, and I'm recommending it because I went in, and after the first episode, I was like, wow, is the show really not as good as I remember it being? Because when I was little, I used to love the show, right? When it very first came out, I was 13. I thought the humor was good. And today, the humor still stands up. It's like a good mix of adult humor and kid humor, like I said before. Of course, there's kid things in it because it was on Nickelodeon, not Nick at Night. So it was more pointed towards like children or teenagers. But I feel like it should have just been way more for like teenagers and young adults, because it definitely should have been marketed as that, instead of like it's on after Drake and Josh, and then we had the Nick at Night right after it plays. Really good show. Jerry Trainer nails it as always, and the kid who plays as Wendell, I don't exactly know what his name is, but he was really good too for like being his age in the show. A lot of kid actors just don't nail stuff, but the guy who played as Wendell was really good at it. And I do notice something like that with Nickelodeon. They end up hiring really good kid actors to do things. This show was not ran by Dan Schneider, okay? So, I don't want, Dan Schneider comments that coming out. Oh, you're supporting the show by it? No, it was not. This was not a Dan Schneider product, the Schneider Bakery or whatever you used to call this production stuff. Jerry Trainer was actually a producer in the show, so he had a hand in how the show went, and him being a main character is good. I do see sometimes where people who are in the show being a producer do a really good job with handling the show and everything. I just feel like it's because they get a little bit of a hand on how they want their character to be, and that's always good. You get to see Wendell and Vinnie is funny. Even jokes that I didn't think were gonna be funny ended up making me laugh, and that's another good thing. I definitely do not think it should have been canceled. Obviously, after season 2, I'm gonna see if the humor kind of died down. Maybe it went from that more of adult themed jokes to just strictly kid jokes. Maybe they removed cussing, because like I said, there was mild cussing like damn and hell and ass. There is a scene with the drone. You can literally find it on YouTube. It's called Wendell and Vinnie cursing, and Jerry Trainer goes, and all this time I've been bringing the food to myself like a dumbass or whatever, and again he has a drone and everything. Like I said, it's just an overall really good show. It's hard to complain after watching the first season because it's so good. My favorite parts are the Smoothies on His Head song, where it's Dork Kid's dad goes berserk. This is gonna be hilarious. This is us, isn't it? And then Wendell presses play, and it's they dump smoothies on his head, European bathing suit, poop chart, and it's funny. Okay, I laughed at that again, like I did whenever I was a kid. It's still funny, it's unexpected, and they talk about YouTube and stuff. It's funny. It's kind of weird that they was able to even say Star Wars on a Nick show, because Star Wars is like a Disney thing. There's another thing where it's us Dutch are famous for our yolks, and then one of the jokes the guy tells Vinny, he's like, knock knock, who's there? Nobody, you will die alone. And obviously Jerry Trainer looking depressed and stuff after I was surprised by the joke also makes it funny. It's just still stuff that are funny, and there's so many jokes that I can't remember because obviously I'm not going to remember every joke or everything. or every time they cuss and stuff. But like I said, after the first season, I'm definitely excited to see the second season. Next time, like, I get paid, I'm definitely gonna buy it, and I'll do a review on it then. But for the first episode, it like really does nail it, and it's awesome that it can even, like, you know, a show that I remembered as a kid. Watching it back now, I'm a little bit older. I get the adult humor and everything, as opposed to when I'm 13. I don't really get the adult humor. I'm watching because this was Jerry Trainer from iCarly, and like, now that I'm watching it and I get the jokes and I get what's going on. There is like alcohol present in the thing. Like, there is one where she talks about how she bought some vodka. One where, like, she offers her dad, Wilma, and like offers her dad beer and a pretzel and stuff. So there's just things like that present, you know. So, like, there was alcohol, adult humor, cursing. Good show over, and that's just not the stuff that makes it a good show. I just feel like if it would have been targeted more properly towards young adults and teens, the show definitely would have been more successful than it was. It should have been on Nick at Night. They should have, like, waited until 8 o'clock, the Nick at Night time, to air the show instead of 7:30 whenever it was still Nickelodeon time. I feel like that was just, like, the one thing that killed the show. Obviously, parents don't want their kids watching something that's adult-themed on Nickelodeon or towards, like, teenagers. It's a really good sitcom. You guys should give it a watch. You can get the HD version on Vudu. Season 1 and Season 2 are both $14.99. I definitely recommend it if you guys just want to watch something. You know, if you just want to watch something that's aged well and kind of, like, even though it only got 2 seasons, definitely do it. I would love if they would have made a season 3 for this, or even continued it. Now it's not going to happen now because Wendell and Vinnie. It's been 9 years since that show was on. The kid who played Wendell is an adult now, and Jerry Trainer is, you know, as sad as it is to say, is obviously getting older as well. He still looks the same as he's always looked, but he's just got some wrinkles and stuff now. He can't pull off the 32-year-old anymore. Wendell and Vinnie is a show that's held up well against time. It has not aged badly at all. There's still phones and everything, and you know, like, the clothing design is a lot like today is in shows. Like, it's just aged really well for 9 years. So is it going to hold up another 9 years? I don't know. Like, in 2033, it could just be awful. Who knows what we'll be wearing by then and stuff, right? But anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here. That's all I've got to talk about today. Definitely give Wendell and Vinnie a chance if you have the money and the time. And I will see you all in the next video. But until then, though, everybody, of course, peace out and have a good one.